There's an ancient story that talks about that one thing that really kind of resonated with me. So back in around 400 BC, there was a man named Nehemiah. He was a Jewish man, and he was a servant to King Xerxes of Persia. And he was a slave, but Xerxes really appreciated him and really held him in high regard. And Nehemiah, he was from Jerusalem, and he saw that his people were struggling. The city had been constantly raided. There was poverty, famine, and it was just driving him crazy. So he asked King Xerxes to leave. Now, mind you, he's a slave. Leave and go and take care of this. Go and take care of his people. King Xerxes is like, you know what? I'll do you one better. I will make you the governor of Judea, and you will be, you can go and handle these things. I will give you the resources to go handle this, but you can't stay there forever. Eventually, you have to come back to me. So Nehemiah agrees to do that. He gathers men, resources, wood, and sets off for Jerusalem. He gets there, and for 2 days he travels the city. He meets with all the local leaders. He identifies all the things that has to happen. There's a breakdown in leadership. There's famine. There's poverty. There's corruption. All of these things. There's a multitude of problems that have to be addressed. But he knows that there's one thing that has to be accomplished above all else, and that is this ancient city needs a wall. For as long as he'd been alive, there was no wall. And back in ancient times, walls protected the city. It gave cities identity, and it protected them, and it gave them a sense of nationality. So he set off to form a team and basically put everything else on hold and just focus on that one thing. Focus on creating that wall. So he assembles men and he begins to build the wall. It requires, a lot of resources and a lot of people from Jerusalem to get this done. But he knows once that this is done, safety will be in place. There'll be a sense of safety, and then they can start working on those other things. Sanballat was a local tribesman, and he caught wind that they were building this wall. So he felt threatened, because if this wall is put up, then that keeps them from getting the resources that they need. And they thought that once Jerusalem gets their wall put up, they can actually form an army, and they could be a threat to them. So Sanballat sends men to start to infiltrate and basically disrupt the building of the wall. All his attempts had failed. They tried to send in people to kind of slow up the process. They sabotaged some things, and it just didn't work. So finally, he sets off to write a letter to Nehemiah and says, "Hey," in this letter, it's like, "Hey, come down, Nehemiah, and I'd like to have breakfast with you, lunch, dinner. I'd like to talk to you about this wall." Kind of friendly tone. Nehemiah receives this letter, and he's like, "No, there's no way, because they're here just to hurt me." And he responds back, I'm doing a great work, and I will not come down. I'm doing a great work on this wall, and I will not come down for that." And so he sends that back to Sanballat. Sanballat continues to send off letters and tries to meet with him. He's like, he responds back like, "Look, I know that you're busy, but when you get time, I would love to get together and just talk about some things and work this out and see if we could come up with some kind of resolution to this." And every time it was friendly. And Nehemiah constantly responded back. He's like, "No, I know they're here to do me harm. I'm not coming down from this wall. I'm doing a great work. I'm not coming down. I'm doing a great work." And that is how the wall got built. It's how it got accomplished. He knew that if he would have taken his focus away from the wall, ultimately he would have died, which would have disrupted the wall completely. But how this refers to that one thing in your life is, if you take your eye off the one thing that's the most important, that's lingering overhead, to focus on something else, whether it be participating in an organization or, some other aspect of your life where your time is taken away to focus on other things, then you're leaving yourself open to not completing that one thing that could totally improve your life. So sometimes you have to look at things and like that wall and be like, "No, I'm not coming down. I'm doing a great work right here. I have got to take care of this. I've got to spend time with my family. I have to spend time with my wife. I cannot go participate in that." You have to have balance. You have to focus on the things that are most important so you can build that wall, which is something that's going to improve your life and keep your life at bay. Because it's easy to get sidetracked into other things. It's hard to say no to people. But it's the one thing that you need to focus on to have a good life. and to keep something in your life from getting out of control. So hopefully that helped you. That's something that kind of stuck with me, and I thought I'd share it with you. Have a great day.